Welcome back, 3D students. In this series of videos, we're going to undertake the next step of our character creation tutorials by applying textures to our character. In order to do that, we need to do something called UVW Unwrapping, and we also need to add some edges and refine our mesh a little bit before we do that. But this is the final result right here. You can see that I have created a nice texture for the character here. He's got this nice pattern on him. You can see that in some areas the textures don't continue beyond a certain edge, and that's because of the unwrapping process. And we'll talk about that in more detail in just a minute. I've created a number of materials for this creature. You can see here's the thread. This one is for the eyes. This one is for the background that I have in the scene. And this is the texture that I created for the body. Now, if we take a look at this, you can see that it looks like little paint swatches all over the place. That's because when we unwrap the character mesh, we position it within the texture and then we paint on it. Also down here at the bottom, you'll see that I have a displacement map on it. Now the displacement map is a grayscale image of knit fabric so that he'll look like a sock. And this is only applied during rendering. You can clearly see it here in the rendered image. Now without unwrapping the character mesh properly, none of this would be applied correctly, especially not the displacement map. This is what the unwrapped character mesh looks like. Here is his mouth. This is his body. It's still joined at the top of the head. These are the eyes. Here is an arm and a leg. These are the legs. And this is the inside of the mouth. And these are the feet and the hands. Now once we do this, any changes we make to the geometry will require us to do it again. So before we do this, we need to make all the changes we want to the geometry in preparation for doing this. And we're going to make a couple of changes right now. So here's the frog as he is before I made any changes. Yours probably looks something like this. So in preparation for unwrapping and animation, we need to make some changes. So let's get started. Let's start by going to polygon mode here and selecting these end polygons on the arm. And then let's inset them a little bit, like so, and then pull them out. And this will give us a nicer rounded end of our arms and legs. We're going to do the same thing to the legs. And then let's take a look at this and see if we need to move anything else around. And let's do the same thing to the feet. Now you could, if you wanted to, take this opportunity to create some hands by maybe pulling this out, grabbing Swift Loop, and then creating a loop and scaling it like so to create some little hands or some feet as well. Now, one of the things that needs to happen so that our arms will bend properly during arms and legs will bend properly during rigging is that we need to create some elbows and some knees. So to do that, we're going to select this edge that's in the middle here, and we're going to right click and we're going to chamfer it. And if you click and drag right there, you'll see that you create 3 edges, and that's what we need. This edge right here, this edge right here, if you want to create kind of a seam here, then what we need to do is extrude this edge. So we can extrude it like so, and then we can bring this in closer together, and that'll create kind of a little seam after we smooth it, as you can see. Now let's also do the knees and the feet if you have them. Now I'm also going to take this opportunity to sort of fix this leg area here where it probably needs to be pulled in so it can be more rounded, like that. And one other thing we need to do is we need to make sure that the smoothing is not doing all the work. And what I mean by that is when I apply NURMS, we don't want it to pull the mesh too much because we'll have a problem when we need to apply our texture. So let's go ahead and apply some loops in the center, sort of halfway between our knees and our feet, and that'll help the mesh bend a little better. And it will also minimize pulling of the texture. Now I notice here too, I have a N-gon right here that needs to be resolved, so I'm going to get Swift Loop and put an edge right there and then connect these two. You may not have this problem, but anytime you add a new edge, you should probably take an opportunity to look at it and see how it affects the curvature of your mesh. And everything else looks pretty good. So I also think I'm going to take the opportunity here to put another edge on the eye here, right here. So go back. And that should give me the opportunity to reshape it a little bit like so. And let's see how that behaves when we smooth it. Much better. Should always be looking for opportunities to make things a little better shaped. And let's check the spacing of our edges here. Okay, so I think those are all the changes I'm going to make in preparation for unwrapping. So in the next video, we're going to begin unwrapping our character, and I'll see you then.